thank you so much for coming and speaking to us, because your story is just inspirational. But firstly, I just have to thank you though, because when I emailed you to ask if I could interview you, you sent me a link to a incredibly inspirational woman. She's called Fiona Oakes, and she please, anybody who's watching this, just watch. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Running for Good. She is a complete inspiration to everybody who really cares about animals, who cares about our planet, and who is vegan. But her story, she is, I mean, we can call her superhuman, but if we could all just have a little bit of her in us. She's run marathons. She's the fastest woman marathon runner in the world. She's run the fastest times in every single continent. And she's done that with 40 years being a vegan and having no proper kneecaps. But she does it purely with a cause, is for the animals that she loves so much. So Michelle and I were just talking about her before we started this interview, but if anybody out there wants to be inspired, please just watch Fiona Oakes Running for Good. Right. So thank you, Michelle. Now you have the gorgeous boy, Loki. I think he's in your kitchen somewhere, isn't he?
Come on. Are you going to come and say hello? Hop it up. Come on.
No. Oh, there he is. Oh, I love your boy. Oh, he's...
You know what it's like with dogs. He's, as a Vizsla, he's always on my knee. But when it comes to, performing in the moment, he's like, no,
he's not going to know it. Exactly.
Yeah, usually he'd be up here on my lap. So.
Climbing. They're the most sensitive breed, aren't they?
They are.
Oh, I love Vizslas. And with that sensitivity comes, oh, he's beautiful. With that sensitivity in their character, which is why what you choose a Vizsla for. I mean, they're beautiful to look at, but equally they're softies. They really are. They're highly sensitive breeds. But with that sensitivity does come a sensitivity to everything else, to medication, to foods. So what is your experience with Loki and his diet?
Well, I being a vegan myself, obviously feeding my dogs in the past non-vegan diets was, it just got harder and harder to do, and more sort of upsetting for me. So when I kind of came across you, Ariel, and your site, and I sent away for a mixed, your mixed selection of different foods. And I tried Loki on those. Solo Vegetal, he liked them all, but Solo Vegetal for him was the one that he just loved it. He'll do cartwheels for it. He loves it. So we started transitioning him at 10 months, I think it was, with your advice, doing him, I think it was about 10 months, with 50-50 of his old food and Solo Vegetal. And then at 1, put him purely on Solo Vegetal, and he is just so fit on it. I can't tell you. He looks amazing. His coat is glistening. Everybody who sees him just says, "My goodness, we got a squirrel."
He's got to sort those squirrels out.
Oh, true. It is. You see, I've got some Solo Vegetal here, and he will even leave the squirrels in the garden for a little handful of it.
Oh, wonderful!
So yes, yeah, and his coat is just beautiful. He just looks so fit and so well and so strong on it. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to have a food that's nutritious.
Oh, me too.
Delicious.
Absolutely. So Solo Vegetal was actually developed by Italian vets, and it was developed under the banner of a very large animal dermatology company called Vizslas. They've now been bought out by another dermatology company called Next Immune. But what they wanted is something a diet that dogs who were highly intolerant to meat protein, which is the top allergen in dogs, they wanted to produce a diet that dogs could stay on permanently. We do have what all vets keep giving out to dogs that are highly allergic with skin problems, is we do have what they call prescription diets. They've all produced these prescription diets where they take the protein, the meat-based protein, and they break it down into tiny little particles. They hydrolyze it so that the body doesn't recognize that allergen. But by doing that, it makes the food unpalatable. So they start to add in the fats, they add in fish oil, they add in sugar. One of the diets just has sugar listed as its fourth ingredient, which you can't maintain a dog on that. It's terrible for their teeth. It's not healthy. So what Solo Vegetal have done is just fantastic for dogs with intolerances, first of all, by choosing the healthiest plant-based sources, because they don't have to break anything down and try to hide anything. They can just choose the healthiest plant-based sources. And because they wanted it to be a diet that dogs could stay on. Oh, he's beautiful. They are beautiful. Oh, and he loves his mummy. And isn't it wonderful knowing that his saliva carries no bacteria?
No.
Because all meat-based food is coated with something called digest. So all meat-based food, raw or kibble, actually has bacteria on it, which is why you have to wash your hands, but not with plant-based. Look at him licking your face. It's just so lovely. So the fact that he can stay on this diet permanently, and the fact that they've made it so palatable, is just wonderful. I take my hat off to them. And I mean, you were happy to find me. I was just absolutely thrilled to find them, Solo Vegetal. I mean, there are others that are now on the market, and I'm selling others, importing them from Germany because they're so good. But the main thing that you've proved is how healthy a dog can be on a plant-based diet.
It's, if you could hear the amount of people who say to me, gosh, your dog looks so strong, because he does. He's really, as Vizsla should be. He's lovely and lean, but he's just so muscly, and he just looks like an athlete. He looks just like an athlete.
Which he is. He is an athlete.
Yeah, which he is. Yes. And he should look like.
Yeah.
But the number of people who comment on him, and I'm like, yeah, plant-based dog, people are like, really? And I'm like, yeah, plant-based dog. And the same when they, when they stroke him, and they just say, oh, his coat is just like velvet, and I'm like, yep, that's plant-based.
Yeah, absolutely, because at the end of the day, what he's getting the purest form of what, like us as vegans, we're getting the purest form of protein. So protein comes from plants, because plants are the only species that are able to take nitrogen from the air or from the soil, as in legumes, and convert that into amino acids. So they are the only species on the planet that can actually make the proper building blocks of protein. Other animals, sheep, cows, chickens, pigs, have to eat that protein to make the protein in their body. So actually, by eating another animal, you're actually eating recycled protein. So why not get protein from the direct source without all the growth promoters and all the extras that are the antibiotics that you get, everything that's added to these poor feedlot animals because they're kept in these close conditions. So just get the purest source. And from the purest source, which is plants, you are going to have the best form of health. Now, you've introduced something else with Loki, which when you contacted me and you said to me, he loves the Solo Vegetal so much that, but I think, am I right, you were going back to work, or you had to leave him for longer periods of time?
I'm a bit embarrassed to say it's just to leave him at all. So.
Don't worry, we're all the same. Honestly,
just to leave him at all.
Exactly, just to go to the shops. I quite agree. We're all the same. You feel guilty. Yeah. I mean, I do. You sort of. I find myself saying goodbye to extra rough when I walk out the door, and telling him, oh, and I'll be back soon. And then when you do, there's such a guilt attached with that. So
but I also knew I had to start, you know, I've got to start leaving, you know, I've got to start leaving him, you know, for short periods and so on. So hence coming to you with the questions, with the,
that's
with
right.
the Kongs.
And I loved your query, because now Loki's got a beautiful big red Kong, and you wanted to fill it, because he loves the Solo Vegetal so much, you wanted to fill it with Solo Vegetal that was watered down, and put that in the Kong. But I gave you a recipe to make doggy hummus. And adding to that doggy hummus is so it is basically a tin of chickpeas, drained. It's some sesame oil or tahini, if you have that, some nutritional yeast, and then just a sprinkling of the spirulina, the Green Paws Super Green supplement that we have, which adds in some extra amino acids that are needed. So now you've done this, and you sent me a picture of him, which I absolutely adored, and we're going to show this picture because he's clutching his Kong so beautifully, so gently in his paws, and his golden eyes have just disappeared into dreamland. So what did you find it easy to prepare, first of all, the doggy hummus?
Yeah, yes, I did. I had to add a bit of water to it to sort of soften it down, and in the end I ended up mashing it a bit with the potato masher.
The potato masher, perfect. Yes, we don't all have blenders, exactly.
Just to squash it down a little bit, and sort of soften, you know, get it all mashed together, and then froze it. Put the Kongs in the freezer.
So you froze it as well.
Yes,
Wonderful.
which then makes it longer, you know,
Yes.
longer lasting for him. And he just loved it. I mean, he just absolutely loved it. You know,
wonderful.
I did wonder, you know, I was like, it's kind of mainly chickpeas. Is he going to like this? And he thought it was, you know, absolutely delicious.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, dogs are not driven by sight. They're driven purely by smell. And they can actually, because their sense of smell is 1,000 times stronger than ours, they can actually smell individual amino acids. So because of the addition, chickpeas on themselves, being legumes, are really high in protein. The essential proteins, but then what we've got with that spirulina supplement that I formulated is I've actually added in the 4 extra amino acids: taurine, carnitine, tryptophan, and methionine that are lacking in a plant-based diet that you find mainly in meat. So actually, what he was smelling was 100% complete little. It's like having a sirloin steak stuffed into his Kong, because it would have had that number of amino acids he could smell. It would have been completely balanced. But the one amino acid that I added in, which is tryptophan, which I know is needed because it's one that's found a lot in milk and also in meat and chicken, but actually it's the calming amino acid. It's the amino acid that helps the formation of serotonin in the body. So actually, by giving him a Kong with that addition in it, is going to lower his anxiety. So he's going to be on his own. At least he's got something that actually is not only he's enjoying, he's getting mental stimulation from having to lick it out of his Kong, but the ingredients that are in there are actually enough to release those happy, calming hormones, just like plant-based food does. Actually, there's so many natural plant-based foods that another squirrel.
Another squirrel. I should have done this in the dining room, I think.
Do you know what I had to do? I've had to leave the door open for my little dog, because he rushes to the door, scratches as soon as he sees a squirrel. So I've just left the door open. I'm a bit cold, but
that's sorry to everybody.
we know.
But that's really interesting what you're saying. So you're getting a dual effect of the calming effect of the licking and the chewing, and on top of that you've got is it tryptophan, did you say?
Tryptophan, correct.
Yeah, you've got the tryptophan, which is also relaxing and calming and soothing for them. So yeah,
Absolutely.
which
Yes.
is
And
brilliant.
you've hit it on the head there as well with the actual licking action.
Mm.
They've done studies on dogs, and they've found that dogs actually get more of a dopamine release from trying to find their food, from foraging, from hunting, from getting treats when they do particular actions. Their dopamine release is far greater from trying to lick the food out of a Kong than actually just eating it out of a bowl. We get a dopamine release from eating as humans. We sit and we chew, and it's quite a sociable thing, but our bodies, but it's the opposite in dogs. It's the bit before. So actually the sitting licking, just that is getting and trying to get it out of the Kong, just that is giving him that dopamine release that he needs, which is ideal.
Yeah.
Absolutely ideal.
Yeah.
So everything you've done with Loki's doggy hummus in his red Kong, and I always say this to owners, is red is the one color that dogs cannot see. I remember when I was at school, I did a science experiment. I took part in a science expo. I was only about 13 or 14, and I did my whole experiment on what colors animals can see.
Cool.
And I remember modeling the little bits of the eye, and I stuck it all. I did win. I was so the only thing I ever won in my life. I remember winning a little gold certificate for it. But yes, dogs cannot see the color red, interestingly. And so these red Kongs and these red toys and red food bowls are all for us as owners. because to them it's the one color that I don't know why they can't see red. You'd think they should be able to, but no, they can't.
Well, I have to say he also has a couple of black Kongs, and he's even got a pink Kong from when he was a puppy. So,
okay.
he's got
a selection.
Yeah. And what I do is I'll make a batch of it, and fill all the Kongs, and then put them all in the freezer at the same time, and then they're just they're quick
perfect.
and easy to grab.
And you're there, and so everything you're doing is right, because actually the nutrients that he's getting from the contents of those Kong, I mean, just from the chickpeas, the sesame oil of the tahini, plus the nutritional yeast, plus the supplement. I mean, the nutritional value for his body is so fantastic. Adding in those extra healthy ingredients that we would eat.
I just wondered as well, just to change it up a little bit, if to that you could add some little chopped up bits of carrot, or
absolutely
chopped up bits of apple, or some blueberries.
Absolutely. Or, oh gosh, I mean,
whatever it is they love,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. You can choose ingredients that they love. And every ingredient you choose has a benefit. You've mentioned carrots, high in potassium, apples, we've obviously got that wonderful pectin, that wonderful fiber, blueberries, just full of what we call phytonutrients. And so as soon as you start adding all those extra nutrients, it just provides him with better health, but then also they are delicious. So he will love, he'll smell that sweetness, he'll smell the sugar
and he does love his fruit and veg. I mean, whenever we're preparing veggies, he's he's straight in his crate rating, whether it's broccoli or cauliflower or carrots. Obviously carrots he loves, but all the fruits and veggies he's always into. So
no wonder he looks so healthy.
It's mainly the Solo Vegetal. That's his main.
His mainstay. Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Good. Oh no, as I say, I could talk to you forever, but just everything you've said I know will inspire owners. So thank you so much, Michelle. I so appreciate
thank you
all of that.
Thank you for everything. I'm so grateful that I can put his bowl of food down and he just literally chows into it. He loves it. And and nothing died for it, and
nothing died for it. Absolutely.
The environment. I mean, it's, what more could I wish for? Healthy boy, and that. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Oh, look, Michelle, that's what I wanted to show. Oh, he's such a darling. He's actually hugging you.
He's the biggest lap dog and the best cuddler in the world.
Oh, he's such a darling boy. He loves his mummy. Oh, we all want a Loki in our lives. And look at you, you're showing me evidence of his lean, beautiful. Oh, what a darling boy. Look at him.
I'm just glad he's not a kilo bigger than he is, because he just wouldn't fit on. But he does give big cuddles. I can't quite, I don't think I can scoot round.
Oh, I just love him. There he is.
He kind of throws his head over his shoulder and leans right in.
Oh, I just love it.